I feel like when you find your person, no matter how bad things get, right? When you're really, truly with your person, there's a way to compromise and figure things out.
Welcome back to another episode of More Than an Inmate's Girlfriend. I'm your host, Jay, and today's episode is going to be an interesting one. It is one that I've been holding on to for quite some time. It was recorded quite a while ago by someone that I have a lot of respect for, and it's for that reason that I've held on to it for so long, because it matters to me so much. And this is kind of a different episode. As we develop the podcast into what it is and what we want it to be, we want to not only include stories of loved ones that are incarcerated, but also what people have done to help them and how important it is, advocacy work. This is one of those episodes where not only is it a beautiful, beautiful love story between Jea and Peter, it's also an episode where we can learn more about what we can do for our loved ones and what she did for her loved one and how she's working to try and change the system. It's an awesome episode. Every time I listen to it, I just love it and I keep listening to it. I've been working on it for a while. It's going to be split into 2 episodes. So we'll have the first part of the story up until COVID, and then the second part will be released next week. I really hope you guys enjoy it. We're going to get to learn about her husband's case because, as you'll soon find out, he is innocent and she knows he's innocent because she was with him the night that the murder happened. Imagine. And they were 17 years old. So that's just the beginning. And this is an episode that so many people need to listen to. So many people need to hear her speak. So share it, please. Spread the word, because this is so, so, so important. And Peter Kenney Jr. deserves for people to hear his story and for people to be angry at the fact that this man has spent over 20 years in prison for something he didn't commit, and his significant other knows he didn't commit. And yet here they are fighting every day for change and every day to get him out. It's beautiful, it's sad, it's riveting, and I'm very much looking forward to what you guys think about it. So part 1, here we go. Thank you so much for joining us today. The guest that we are going to have and we're going to talk to has so much to say, and I have so much that I need to ask her, not only about her relationship, but also about everything that she's done to advocate for her husband, to advocate for people that are incarcerated. And I really think it's important that women that are just starting out wanting to advocate or are afraid and don't know where to go, I really think it's really important to learn from people that have done it and learn from their mistakes and learn from their successes. And I think this woman really has a lot to say and a lot of advice to offer. So before I introduce you to who she is, I'm just going to talk a little bit about how I met her. She was recommended to me by Melissa Ann. Melissa Ann was on my 2nd episode, and she is the host of Naked Truth's 2 Chicks on a Mic. And she was like, oh my gosh, you have to interview this woman. She's known her husband forever and she's got such a history with him, and it's just so nice to see them online and they're just amazing. And I'm like, okay, cool. So then I looked her up and I saw that Nick had already befriended her. And so I was like, I don't know. We already tried and we're not friends with her on Facebook, so I don't know what to do. So I talked to Nick about it. And I looked at her profile and I looked at her Facebook, and then I looked at her husband's case a little bit, and I just saw some of the stuff that was on her feed, and I'm like, wow. So I explained it to Nick and he was like, just send her a message. I'm like, okay, you know what? At this point, let's just do it. Let's just see. I don't know if she's going to want to. I don't know if she's not going to want to, but at least I can say that I tried. And so far, anybody that I've asked to come on has said yes. So I just shot my shot and messaged her, and she replied, and I was so excited. I was so nervous to open it because I didn't know what she was going to say. And yeah, she replied and we spoke. And conveniently, we spoke a day before I found out that the facility where Nick is was denying our wedding based on the fact that I was a threat to the institution, apparently. And that night when I met her and we had this really long conversation, she was so incredibly inspiring to me. And I learned so much in that hour and a half conversation. It was almost overwhelming how fascinated I was with this woman and how much I admired her and her tenacity and everything that she's been through and everything she's been through with her husband to get through it. It's just wild. I can't wait for you guys to hear all about it. So let's get started. I want to introduce you to Jea. Jea. Welcome, Jea.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor and privilege to be here with you today, to be able to spread my knowledge that's accumulated over the years.
Yeah. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about your husband, since you're not going to be anonymous on this?
That's right.
Correct.
It's an open book policy.
Yeah.
We are not ashamed of the game. So, as Jay said, I am G, or Gina Kenney, G for short. I'm married to an amazing man that I've known since we were preteens, Peter Kenney Jr. He's wrongfully incarcerated, factually innocent, in the state of Ohio. We are from Cleveland, Ohio, which is one of the major cities here in Ohio, the epicenter of wrongful convictions, might I add. He was incarcerated back in 2001 as a 17-year-old child for a crime that he, in fact, did not commit nor witness. Actually had alibis. However, they were being silenced for coming forward to testify against the state, stating that my husband committed this horrific crime against someone that he considered a friend. So 2001 was when our nightmare begun. He was 17. Like I said, we met when we were preteens, so we've known each other since we were about 12. My mom, his mom, and another guy that we call our brother. Our moms were really good friends, so we hung out quite often. Back then, he was no angel. Like a lot of the younger kids, they end up on the streets and unfortunately finding love through homies, and got into selling drugs and just being a little unruly. However, he's never been an evil person and far from a murderer. And because he was a little promiscuous and on the streets and, doing his thing, it kind of kept me at bay. I was a good girl, straight A's, B's, doing good in school. Always had a puppy love crush on him whenever we were around each other. It was always genuine. He always told me no other guy will compare to him. One day he'll have me, and you know how that goes when we're younger and teenagers. And like I said, I stayed at bay. We were really good friends, and then the night prior to the crime happening, we hung out, and I decided to be picked up by him and another friend. He called me, asked me what I was doing. I had just gotten off work, and they pulled up, picked me up, and like I said, that was my puppy love guy. However, I can get time with him. I did, even if that meant going with him to sell his drugs, hit licks, whatever. And that's basically what we did that night. Unfortunately, was on the east side, back to the west side. We went and he did a couple of his little drug deals, and unfortunately, back then, the drug of choice at the time was wet. And for those that don't know what wet is, PCP, it is embalming fluid. It's cigarettes, or some take blunts and dip them in embalming fluid and smoke it. And it's a really bad high for the most part. I witnessed my husband that night drooling all over himself. He wasn't able to walk, stand, run. I watched the kid that was in the car with us pick him up out of the car and take him into these houses to go do their thing, and then carry him back out to the car, and then next house, and so forth. And I actually talked to him that night too, staying the night with me at my aunt's house, which was like his aunt as well. And we pull up, I go in to try to get help to get him out of the car, and unfortunately the kid that was driving pulled off with them. And it wasn't until days later that I finally heard that he was okay, because naturally, obviously, couldn't get a hold of him after that. Unfortunately, rumors spread real quick about who did it, who was there, and he caught wind of them saying that he did this, and that there were rumors going around that he did this. So as a child who was scared, his intuition made him hide. So he was hiding out. His dad put him in a hotel, hid him out for a little while.
Right.
And then when the detectives started to harass his mom and his family, that's when he came out of hiding and went in for questioning. He was just scared. So, he's like, I didn't do this, so I'm willing to go down for questioning, whatever.
Did you know the guy who was murdered?
So actually I did. Growing up, my husband lived in Lakewood, which is like a suburb of Cleveland.
Okay.
So we went to two different schools, and the victim didn't go to school where I went, but that's the neighborhood he was hanging out in. So he was always up at the school all the time, waiting on some of the guys that were in my class and things like that. So I knew who he was, but we weren't really friends or anything like that.
Okay.
But him and my husband most definitely shared a friendship, and they hung out and were quote unquote boys.
So he sped off that night, or the driver, with your husband, and then the next day you guys found out that this guy was murdered
Correct. So the victim was shot and killed at 4 o'clock in the morning.
that night. Okay.
And I was dropped off about midnight.
Okay.
And like I said, my husband was not able to walk. He was not able to run. He was drooling on himself. He was very not coherent, right? So
he wasn't doing
after
nothing.
a couple weeks go, like literally, it was bad. It was really bad. A week or so goes on. Rumors start flying everywhere that this person and that person did it. Detectives actually came, walking the neighborhood, talking to every juvenile that they could, right? Which is illegal, let's be real.
Yeah.
Juveniles should not be questioned without their parents, period. However, these detectives were definitely going around shaking up juveniles, trying to find out whatever they could. And then, like, the story started to develop, right? So the story was, at first it was 3 black men that did this, then it changed to a white, a Puerto Rican, and a black man, and then it changed to 3 white boys. So the narrative kept changing, the descriptions kept changing, but it was said that whoever did this ran through the backyard, jumped fences, and took off. And there was said to be 3 of them. Well, I knew my husband was not in that condition to run, like I said. So I always knew from the beginning that there's just no way that he did this. None. There's just no way. Well, unfortunately, he went in for questioning, and the day he went in for questioning, they ended up holding him on a receiving stolen property warrant that they put together to be able to charge him or to hold him or whatever.
Did you speak between your last seeing him and then go in for questioning?
Nope.
You didn't talk to him?
Nope. My next time talking to him would be, I mean, I was there through his trial every single day, sat through his trial, but my next time talking to him was after he was convicted. So this happened April 17, 2001 was when the victim was killed. My husband went in for questioning on May 6th of 2001. They immediately arrested him and held him for another charge until they can put together some stuff to be able to bond him over because he was a juvenile for this murder. Come November was when he had trial. So mid-November, he had trial. It was maybe 5-6 days of trial, which was pretty quick.
Do you remember learning that they arrested him?
Yeah, so I was still in connection with his mom.
Okay.
His mom and I have always been really close, and I would always get updates from her about what's going on. When he was in hiding, nobody knew, and even if people knew, they weren't speaking on it. So like I said, naturally, like I didn't even really know anything of what was going on until I heard the rumors. I heard that they were wanting to question him and whatever, but like until he got arrested, that was like my first update after everything happened.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so he went through trial that November and was sentenced as a child to 36 years to life with a chance of parole. He is now served, we're going on year 24, so 23 years. So 2001, he gets convicted. I stay in his life a little bit, visit him while he's down in county jail. They transferred him to adult prison, visited him a little bit. I say turn my back on him, but when I say that to him, he hates when I say that because I did turn my back on him. I left him no excuses, no explanation, no nothing. I just quit talking to him.
And that was at what point?
I'd say probably about a year and a half, 2 years after he got convicted because I ended up seeing a guy through high school and ended up pregnant and, you know, started living my own life. And
so you were with him the whole trial and then almost 2 years after?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We didn't consider each other boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, we had massive love for each other. It was more like a best friend type thing. I always told him, even when he first got convicted, I'm going to bring you home one day. We're going to get married. You're not going to be there forever. Try to pump that hope into him.
And when you were going through the trial, you knew what he was like that night. So you knew that this is complete bogus.
Right. And during this, unfortunately, there was a lot of retaliation that went on. Unfortunately, the victim wasn't the only one that ended up killed. There were several other people that ended up killed that were quote unquote supposedly involved or knew something or did something, or there was a lot of retaliation. So one thing he did not want to do was jeopardize his family, me, his mom. No one testified of his character. No one testified as to like what this wet would do to him if he was on it. The only witnesses they had, so trial. So he was solely convicted only on hearsay evidence. There was no weapons, no shell casings, no DNA, no eyewitness that pointed him out in a lineup, and that lineup went to everybody possible to pick out who did it, and absolutely nobody ever pointed him out in a lineup.
Wow.
There were 3 witnesses who testified for the state. One of the witnesses were actually supposed to testify on behalf of my husband, who was his alibi. However, we now know that he was threatened that if he didn't, they would charge him as an accessory to the crime. And here in Ohio, the accomplice law is basically equivalent if you were there. I mean, I'm sure you know. We talked about Nick's situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just the same as if you did it. And if not, your penalty could be more harsh than the actual person that actually killed the person.
Yes.
So they threatened him at trial, came forth and said that he lied under oath and that his testimony was not true and, did the right thing.
Yeah.
So they omitted his testimony for deliberation. However, his girlfriend also testified, and his girlfriend had the same exact story as he did. So if his got omitted and he lied, how come hers didn't get omitted? Because it's the same story.
Mm-hmm.
So her story was the same as his. Basically, they claimed that Peter had told them that he did it. And the facts of the matter are, honestly, is that my husband was actually at their house that night when this happened.
Oh my gosh.
They know he didn't do it. Yeah. So, yeah.
But you're also dealing with 17-year-olds?
Well, so they weren't. They were a couple years older than my husband was. And so the other witness claimed that she seen him at a store, which was right around the corner from where the crime took place, and that he admitted to her as well that he did it. But this is the thing, like if you read through the police records, you'll see where they claim that they were searching for a week for him and could not find him. But yet someone easily seen him at the store right around the corner. That never made any sense to me.
No.
None. It's all clear as day now, Jay.
Yeah.
Because I've requested the documents
right.
and I've seen for myself.
And you're older.
But I always knew that there was a reason why these people lied against my husband and put him in prison for life.
Mm-hmm.
And I just never understood why they did it.
And what were you
now
thinking?
It's clear as day.
You're in this trial. You're seeing all this. I can't even imagine the feeling knowing that he's innocent and you have to sit there and just watch it happen.
It was absolutely disturbing and disgusting. Like I said, I was a kid myself.
Yeah.
I was 17 years old as well. It was like my real first glance. I have family members that have been incarcerated and been in jail and prison, but I never really paid attention to the system like I did then. Mm-hmm. And even then, going through that, I still never really paid attention to it afterwards. You know what I mean? I just didn't understand like how they can convict somebody with absolutely no evidence, but they did it. Right?
And did you think he was going to be? When you're sitting there, are you like, oh my gosh, this is going to happen?
I don't even believe that he felt that there was a way that they could have found a way to convict him. Wow. Honestly, he was given a plea deal. He was given a 10-year plea deal. 10 years.
Wow.
If he would have known the outcome would have been the way it ended up being, 36 years to life, who wouldn't take that 10-year deal?
100%.
But at the end of the day, he's innocent.
Yeah, Nick had the same
Why would he take a plea deal and he wasn't even there?
Yeah, that's crazy. Because Nick got offered a plea deal too, and I think they offered him 40 years or something. And he's like, in hindsight, he could be going up for parole at the 20-year mark. He would only have 6 years. He's like, do you know what I would be doing if I only had 6 years left right now? It's like, I'd be jumping for joy. My life is set. I'm good. I'm getting out before I'm 40. He's like, and now the reality, you know,
bad.
It's life. He got
so since we're on air and we're recorded, I just want to throw something out there that I need people to do their research on, because it's something that's been happening for decades, and finally there is a Supreme Court justice that is finally exposing it, right? These plea deals are actually what he has now termed to be dark plea deals. These are those deals that they're trying to make happen behind closed doors when they know somebody's innocent. And instead of them making it cost more, taking it to trial, they try and get them to bite the bullet then and just take the plea deal. That way there's no real success in trying to bring these cases back to court. Like I said, I'm here in Ohio. I've already complained and bitched about we live in the same country and we're all under different rules. Why? But these dark plea deals isn't just something that's happening here in Ohio. They're taking place all over the country. And I'm super thankful Justice Michael Donnelly, unfortunately, he just lost the election. I don't even know how it happened. But like, he's literally out here right now doing God's work, exposing the system for what it is. And he's a big advocate, especially for wrongful convictions and factual innocence claims, because these are the things that people aren't seeing, because these are the things that's happening behind closed doors.
Yeah.
95% of the people that have took dark plea deals probably are innocent.
Yeah.
And still took one of those plea deals in hindsight for freedom.
Well, that's it. Look what happened to your husband, right? like he would be free right now.
Yeah, yeah, 10 years. We're on year 20. Like I said, we're going on 24. He would have been home a long time ago. And then, like I said, I turned my back on him. That's my term, not his.
Yeah.
Because he hates when he's like, you never turned your back on me. You're still here. Which, you know, to me, I did. I didn't give him any type of explanation, which he deserved. You know, he's never done me wrong. He's never done me dirty. Like, and I did. I just cut communication off, quit visiting him, went on with my life, lived it a couple years, got in another bad relationship, broke up with him, reached back out to him in prison, started talking to him again, talked to him for a few more years, visited him a few more years, and ended up with my girls' father, so my youngest two's father, and I ended up getting married to him. And during our relationship, I was still writing and visiting Peter. However, at one point, I used to keep all of his letters. I know, bad, right? And my ex-husband, who was my husband at the time, my girls' father, had found my boxes of letters and, of course, read them. And
yeah, I was wondering.
It turned into like a big argument.
So he didn't know that you were doing that you were talking to him?
Well, he didn't realize the extent of our history. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we've always been great friends. The way we spoke to each other hurt him. And because I was married to him and I believe in loyalty and what's right is right and wrong is wrong, I just, okay, I'll never write him again. You don't have to worry about it. And again, quote unquote, turn my back on my husband. My terms, not his terms. Because eventually I'm going to let him listen back, and he don't like me saying that.
Yeah.
But I did, and ended up having 2 more kids. So, yeah, lived my life. And then in 2015, my youngest child was born in 2011. So after that, I think I ended up in one relationship after their dad, and it was like the worst relationship I was ever in. I lost everything that I had to this man.
No.
But I was just trying to escape, and I didn't care. And so, again, reached out to Peter, and he literally opened his arms. Now, we're older now, right?
Yeah. When you would turn your back, quote unquote, turn your back or pause or whatever, did he ever try and reach out to you? Did he ever write you or check in with you? Or
His mom and I always maintained a communication line. Like, we were always Facebook friends or MySpace or whatever it would have been, whatever social medias we had.
MySpace.
We always tapped into connection, so he would get certain updates from his mom. It's harder for them to reach out to us than it is for them. I think that last time I ended up changing my number and everything, and then I ended up getting locked out of my JPay, so I wasn't checking. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
So then when in 2015, when I came back into his life, I reached out to him on JPay. And when I did, he opened his arms wide open, welcomed me back into his life. No hatred, no ill feelings, no nothing. And I was happy because I deserved him to be like, yeah, right, go elsewhere. Go finish living your life. You left me for dead twice. Like, what the hell, woman, you know? But he did it. And so we started, I tell him all the time, I came in like a wrecking ball. So we started to write each other. I got back on his visit list and started to visit him. In the beginning of us starting to talk, I was just getting out of a relationship, and he actually had a few women that he was speaking with, and I didn't care because we've always told each other that there's no one in each other's lives that will ever amount to the love that we share with one another, and even to this day, it's true. So he had his women. I was just getting out of a relationship, just came back into his life. I start visiting him. When I first came back into his life, he was in a level 4 prison, Lucasville, which is one of the worst prisons in the United States. It was a 3.5-hour drive.
Wow.
So I think I was going like maybe once or twice a month. But then shortly into it, he got a security review and he was dropped to a level 3. So when he went to a level 3, we got more visits, and he was an hour and like 15 minutes away from the house. So that was perfect, you know.
Convenient.
And so there I got 4 visits a month. And so I made sure I was there every single week. And that was from 2017 when he dropped to a level 3. Mind you, when I came back into his life, he used to always tell me he would never get married. Definitely would never get married in prison.
Yeah.
And so consistent visiting him there every chance I can get. Eventually his mind changes. In 2019 early, we were on a visit. We went to go take a picture, and he looked at the CO and asked for permission. He was like, can I? I had no clue what he was about to do or what he was asking for permission for. But he dropped down to his knee and he asked me to marry him. And of course I said yeah. However, I was still technically married to my girls' father, even though we were separated. So he proposes to me, And when he did, I instantly jumped in and figured out how I could divorce the kids' father and get the ball rolling, and literally like boom, 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 boom. Got my divorce. We reached out to the chaplain, secured a date, and ended up getting married that same year, October 10th.
What were the people around you, like your family, his family, what were they thinking about all of this? Did you have a lot of support from your family?
My mom has always been super supportive of us. Actually, growing up, I did live with my mom, but then in the middle of middle school, high school, I ended up having to live with my dad. But my mom's house was always the house I would run to when I was in trouble with dad. I'd run to mom's house and stay the night. And oftentimes going there, he would already be there hanging out with my brothers. You know what I'm saying? So it was always like a way to be able to see him. My mom has always, always, always loved and adored him from the start. Same thing with his mom and his dad, his aunt, his family absolutely adores me for all that I do for him.
Yeah.
And are very grateful. He wouldn't be where he is right now had it not been for me. And that's not to be conceited or anything, but he's come a long way. He really, really, truly has. He's always been a good person. He's always been a great person, but he's never had that genuine happiness to be able to allow it to show.
Mm-hmm.
And they're survival mode.
Exactly.
They have to put on this armor and act tough and can't cry, can't show emotion. Whereas over these years of being back into his life, he's really opened up a lot. And I've softened him up a lot.
Yeah.
He's not as hardcore to be.
When he first went in, did his attitude change right away? I can't even imagine a 17-year-old going into an adult prison knowing he's going to be there for the next 40 years.
So there's a lot of stories I will probably never, ever hear from him. But I will tell you that, especially when he was sitting in county waiting to be convicted and bonded over into the adult prison and stuff, I told you about the retaliation. There was even retaliation on the inside towards him, you know, because the victim had people that were inside the jail and caught wind of him being charged for it. So, you know, he was jumped, he was beat up.
Yeah, Nick had
attacked.
some retaliation too.
In adult prison, juveniles are definitely prey. Luckily for him, he did have a few family members that were inside that arms wide open and kind of protected him. But there's a lot that he has seen and experienced and witnessed that would be very traumatizing for anyone. And it's still insane to me how level-headed he is, even going through all the experiences and seeing everything that he has, you know?
Yeah.
Prison is, I mean, let's be real raw and honest about it. There's a lot of sexual assaults going on in there. There's a lot of things being taken from people, a lot of abuse. It's not the place for any child to have to witness anything like that. And he did. He had to experience all of that.
And he still is him, regardless.
Yeah. And I will say one thing about him. When people go to prison, the first thing they're trying to do is shove pills down your throat and medicate you. He's never been that one. He never would allow them to give him any type of medication or anything like that. And he's been able to maintain and survive decades. And to me, that's impressive, because I don't know how I could do a day, let alone a month, a year, let alone 2 decades for something that you didn't even witness, do, or anything. I think that's what makes me love him so much.
But for real, life dealt him such a hand. And then the way that you talk about him and how he is and that he doesn't let that affect him, it's incredible. It takes such a strong character to be able to.
Well, I will say, I mean, not that he deserves to be incarcerated at all by any means. I do feel we always try to think positive, and we can never question why, right? But we both know that had he not been kidnapped by the system and illegally detained, would he even be alive to this day? He could have lost his life in the street. Someone could have killed him a long time ago because he could have stayed on that same path. We try to treat this as not that he deserves to be there, not that he should be there, but like, you always think about the what if. Like, if this not had happened to him, would he even still be alive right now?
Right.
So we try to think positive aspect about it, because we just never know. Not that he deserved it, but I genuinely feel like had he stayed in the streets a little bit longer, he could have been killed.
Yeah.
Shot.
Like everything
killed,
happens for a
dead.
reason. Yeah.
Facts. That's a fact.
So you were married before. Did you feel differently this time?
Oh, yeah.
When you married him?
Honestly, I mean, I'm 41 years old right now. Never in my life did I ever think I would be where I'm at. And you know what I'm saying? Like, the relationship that I'm in, like, this was never idea to me. And it's not idea to anybody, like, at all. Like, people tell me all the time, like, you're freaking crazy. And I might be. I'm crazy about him. It does feel different. And that's because I've always known him to be my person. You know, I've been in relationships before. You know, I've been quote unquote in love with people before and loved them and did everything I could to make things work. And unfortunately, they just didn't work. But I feel like when you find your person, no matter how bad things get, right? When you're really, truly with your person, there's a way to compromise and figure things out.
Yeah.
I think I told you this. It's not about what you go through. It's not about the obstacles. It's all about the bounce back game, how you bounced yourself back to where you were prior to all them obstacles. That's what matters the most in the end, period. And like I said, it's a lot different.
Yeah.
It's so much different. Actually, my first marriage, I did it for all the wrong reasons. I will be totally transparent. All the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I didn't want to ask you because I know it's a touchy subject, but a lot of times I've asked people who've been married and then divorced, did you know you were making a mistake when you got married? And
like I said,
most of them say yeah.
All for all the wrong reasons. We had no kids at the time. My grandmother was really, really sick, and her only dream was to see me be married and with a good guy. And my kid's father is a great guy. Let's not get it twisted. Love him as my kid's father. We just weren't for each other. I mean, and we were together for a very long time. It's just we never really connected the way I feel people in a real loving, true, my person type relationship should. So we let bygones be bygones. We separated. We were separated for many, many years, never touched each other, never hung out, never nothing, strictly parenting. And he's a wonderful father. Loves my girls. My girls they have him wrapped around their pinkies, and he does anything and everything for them. He supports me and anything I need, and there's no limitations. It's just we both knew we were not each other's person. And so when I told him after years of being separated that I'm finally divorcing you, I think it was a huge relief off him too. It was a step for him to be able to be quote unquote really single, you know what I'm saying, and not married to his kid's mother who he's been separated to forever.
Exactly. And it allows him to find his person, because I'm sure he felt similar to you, right?
Right. So we got divorced. I did it real quick, and then literally the first day I was able to marry my husband, we did it. We wanted to get married on 9/9. The prison objected to our date. They gave us a list of dates, and
why did they object?
Just because they only did it on certain days.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
So they gave us a list of dates, and we ended up picking 10/10. And yeah, got married in 2019.
And who's your witnesses?
Strong ever since.
Did your family go?
So originally it was supposed to be his son, my stepson Mason. We were only allowed to have one. And so it was him. And I felt like we owed that to him because when my husband was arrested at 17, he had a child at 15. So when he was arrested and convicted, baby was only like a year and a half. So Mason's naturally lost out his whole life with his dad.
Yeah.
And so we let him be the witness. And then just on a whim, had a visit set up that day. So we had the rest of the family come in with us, and they allowed them actually to go in the room with us and witness too. So it went from just Mason, and we actually got Mason, my son Devin, his mom, his grandma. They were all there to witness it. So it was pretty magical. And my best friend and her husband were the ones that married us. So it was super personal. Yes. Yeah. Super personal. Didn't feel like a prison wedding. I'd do it all over again.
Did you dress up?
Just to him. I had on a little skirt that went down to my ankles and a little white shirt.
Did you feel like a nun?
Prison appropriate. Yeah. I did.
Yeah. Aw, that's sweet. And then tell us what happened after. This is a sad story.
So yeah, we got married on October 10th, 2019. I don't know if you guys have it. I know it's a Hallmark holiday in Ohio, made it up, but Sweetest Day, which is in mid-October. We had a family day that he was approved to participate in. And so I was super excited. We got to watch a movie together and eat some pizza and subs and drink Kool-Aid and sit next to each other and have our arms around each other. It was like a little more personal than a typical visit. I walked in and my husband wasn't in there yet, so the guy that was running the program was like, I got a piece of cake sitting up at the podium. I'm going to introduce you guys as the newlyweds. You're going to come up, you're going to grab the cake, and you're going to smash it into his face. So I got the smash cake in my husband's face and everything. It was like a little reception. That's what I love it. Like.
And so it was the CO? Like it was the CO that did this?
Well, no. It was approved by the CO for me to do that. There was an incarcerated individual who was like over the group, the program manager, as far as the incarcerated person side. So he made sure that it was cool with the CO, and they did it. And we played some Truth or Dare Jeopardy games, and, you know, it was really personal and really nice. It definitely felt, like I said, like reception, so to speak, and went home happy as hell. And then 48 hours later, I get a call that my husband's in the hole. And it took a little bit, a couple of days to figure out why and what was going on, and he finally got a hold of me and told me that they put him in the hole for investigation along with 2 other incarcerated individuals that were sitting at the same table as us. Then my visits got canceled, and I was like, what the hell's going on? And then come to find out, they were under investigation for sexual activity, and all 3 of the significant others of them were permanently banned from their visitation list.
Insane.
So I wasn't sure what was going on, couldn't get no clear answers from prison officials, obviously. Started emailing people, right? Started emailing people, trying to figure out, how do I get this paper? I know I only have so much time to appeal the decision, and it was really stressful. And so I finally get the termination, and it was sent to an address that wasn't even my address. It hadn't been my address for, 6, 7, 8 years. And yeah, so I was permanently banned, and it was in cap with exclamation marks and everything for, it says, during the Bridge Mentorship family event on the evening of 10/19, you engaged in hugging, kissing, and fondling for over an hour with Peter Kenney. This is a violation of DRC visitation policy and is not acceptable. And it was signed by the warden and told me basically I had 7 days to dispute it.
7 days.
And yes. So because I had already been trying to figure out where this termination letter was definitely over my 7-day limit. So they extended my time a little bit after my husband was able to get the termination letter and send it to me through snail mail. And so I appealed it. And when I appealed it, I made sure I didn't just send it to the warden. I sent it all the way up to the governor. So the warden, the regional director, the prison director, the assistant director, the governor. And I even attached media to it too, because I was not playing with them.
I love it.
Let's be real. This event happened on 10/19, but it wasn't until 48 hours later until someone decided they wanted to go back and watch the tape to quote unquote see what they were doing during this event, and threw them in the hole after they found another inmate getting a hand job.
And was this the first time that you've had to negatively talk to the prison? Is this the first time that you fought something that they've done?
It was. Now, before that, there would be some type of just power strong trip, you know what I mean? Like stupid stuff. But this was my first time having to buckle up and go after the system. On my own, anyway. I have my own organization and stuff, but as far as me and myself and mine, yes, this was the first time I had to go and battle up.
Did you have your organization at this point? Were you already advocating?
I did. Yes, I was. So that's the thing. Like, they knew the work that I was doing. And so any way to silence me or shut me up or cause friction to him, because that's what I really feel like it is. Even more so now. And I know I'm going ahead a little bit, but recently, for example, we were working with students at Princeton University for making an exonerate documentary. And the students titled his documentary, I Cannot Be Broken.
Yeah.
And literally, I swear to you, Jay, I feel like they're doing anything and everything they can to try to provoke him to break him, because he said that I've been in here 23 years. There's no way of you guys breaking me.
Yeah, Nick feels the same way at this point. He's like, it's just not, you've done everything already.
Right. Just leave me be. Just leave me alone. But any way that they feel like they can, they will, unfortunately. And it's very sickening and it's very dehumanizing.
Yeah.
Period.
It's the perfect word for what they do.
And they do that. And that's one thing that these correctional officers and these guards need to realize is you're going there to work. These people live there.
Yeah, it's their home. It's their house.
Leave them alone.
Yeah.
Yes, leave them alone.
It makes you question also, are you that miserable that you take joy from hurting people who are already incarcerated? They're already incarcerated. They don't have
power and control at home, so when they come, they feel superior and they do whatever it takes to keep that.
And that's what I keep telling myself.
Going.
As all this stuff is unraveling for myself, I just keep thinking it's petty, but I feel bad for those people, because at the end of the day, Nick has a lot. He still has a lot. He has a loving family, he has a loving fiance, and he's got a lot going for him. But these people who are taking joy and trying to take away his joy, you must be pretty miserable in your own life to be able to do that.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Like, how do you go home and live with yourself?
Yeah, I don't know that part. Still questioning that part. No. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, it's sickening. And most of them do. They have that same mentality. I know I'm just a friendly person. I know when I'm walking in, I don't care who's walking out, if I know the CO or not, I always give them respect, look them in the eyes, hey, how are you? Exactly. And they'll literally just keep walking past you and not even acknowledge you speaking to them.
I know.
I'm not one of your incarcerated people. I'm a person just like you are. Have some respect.
I know, I agree. I've had the same experience a few times, and I'm like, I don't understand what I did. I'm just asking you a question. Just because I'm affiliated with him, I don't know what you think of me, but it's obviously not very good, because look at the way you're looking at me, and I didn't do anything to deserve it. You don't actually know me at all. And like you said, I wonder how many people are actually miserable there, because in my life, there's very few people that I know that are that miserable that they like to see other people in pain. But I do know some people like that. I just wonder if the percentage is higher in corrections.
People hurt people. Miserable people are miserable.
Yeah.
That's just all that there is to it. Hurt people, and there's just no way around it. I do try to sympathize with, especially the COs that I come in contact with here in Ohio. They get froze, so they'll be leaving for their shift, and they'll be like, oh, nope, you can't leave, you got froze. So they have to stay another shift. You know what I mean? I'm sure working inside of a prison is exhausting all in its own, but at the end of the day, nobody has to go in there wanting to stir up, and a lot of them do that. They get off on that, and that's not cool.
Yeah, I don't understand it either.
These people have to live here.
I know. I just don't understand how someone could do that to another human, but it is what it is. So then all this stuff happened, right? And then you went into COVID. What was that like?
Yeah, so I got permanently banned, appealed it, as I should, and I get my determination letter. So I went from permanently being banned to filing my appeal, and I get a determination letter, a decision on my termination. And it stated, on the basis of facts contained in our prior letter to you and your response, so kangaroo court. Yeah. This decision's not appealable, however, and they went from me fondling my husband from an hour to excessive physical contact on this visit. But again, Jay, nobody warned us, yelled at us, said, hey, you're doing too much, calm it down. Like, nobody during this visit said anything to us. We were never penalized for it. We were never spoken to about it or nothing. And you had COs supervising the visit room while this event was going on. So
why do you think that happened?
The woman that watched the video was the normal visit supervisor. Like, she was in the visit room every visit. That was her post, right? And she was extremely petty to me prior to this. Honestly, I felt like it was because she had it bad for my husband. I'm just going to be extremely transparent. Like, I used to always tell him all the time, like, maybe you just need to let her touch your thing or something. I don't know. But she never smiled. She was never friendly. She was never personable. And so we were targeted by her a lot. I remember there was one time I walked in and my sweatpants were too tight. Now, mind you, I never went in jeans, because when I first started visiting them there, I was allowed to wear jeans, and then it went to I wasn't allowed to wear jeans to now I'm just going to wear baggy clothes so that I know I can get in there. And she wasn't even the person that was checking in. And I got through, and she said something about my pants, and I said, okay, well, I'll go change them. And I went and changed them. And when I walked back in, she was hiding around the corner, and she was still trying to say something to me. And the other CO was like, is there a problem? Tell me, don't tell her. Like, I already approved her, you know. So she did. She targeted me a lot. I don't know if it was because of me or because of him, because I tell people all the time, like, we don't know what our loved ones are really, truly doing on the inside.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, we just don't know. We don't
100%.
know. And so, you know, like, I'm like, she's targeting one of us. So she was the one that watched the tape. And I feel like she did have genuine reason to put the one guy in the hole for their activity, but to throw the whole table, there's 3 of us sitting at that table. Unfortunately, wrong place, wrong time. My husband and I just picked the wrong table.
Excessive sentencing. Your poor husband.
Exactly. Wrongfully convicted once again. So that permanently ban turned into 6 months after I appealed it. And then my visiting should have started back April 19th. And visitation was closed. We all know lovely COVID started March, April of 2020. And our prisons were the first thing that was shut down here in Ohio. You know how everything started to shut down? Our prisons were the first thing. So naturally, they shut down the prisons in the beginning of April. None of us had any damn clue how long COVID was going to stick around, how long the prisons were going to stay closed. So my permanent to 6 months ended up being 2 years.
So 2 years, no contact.
I got my visits back, no contact.
And just phone. You had phone.
Just the phone.
Wow. And how many hours a day do you get?
So where he was at the time, we got 15-minute phone calls. I think they were only allowed 150 minutes. But our calls never stopped. He could call back to back if he wanted to, hang up, call back, hang up, call back. We never went through calls all like that. But after a couple of months, it started to weigh on him a little bit. He ended up finding a way to hustle some money and ended up getting a cell phone. So we were able to talk and video through that. You know, we know that's contraband and that could get him into a lot of trouble. By the grace of God, the phone was unfortunately found and took from him, but because they didn't follow policy and procedure, they couldn't charge him with the ticket.
My God, I love it.
So I mean, it's karma, right? Good karma.
Yeah, good karma for once. And how did you get through it? How did you cope? What was your strategy here?
Staying busy. By all means, staying busy. And it really got me. So COVID was the start of my investigation into his case, where it gave me time because I actually got laid off from my job for a little while.
Right.
And that's when I really started to educate myself on how the hell am I going to get this man out of prison? How?
Okay, so that's a wrap on part 1. I hope you guys enjoyed it so far. I hope you're loving G as much as I do. We will get to the second part next week, so February 13th, you will get part 2. It's a goodie. In the meantime, in the end of part 2 is when G will give all her information so that you can follow up. But if you're curious in the meantime and you want to learn more about Peter Kenney Jr.'s case, there is a YouTube video. It is called I Cannot Be Broken, the story of Peter Kenney Jr. So you can YouTube that, watch it, and you'll learn a little bit more about his story. You'll get to see him and his wife and their family and the lawyers that are currently trying to fight for them. So please do so. And next week we'll get to part 2. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time. Bye.